Hey YouTube, Lon here. So I made a quick short, and unfortunately a short isn't long enough to say what I want to say. So you ever heard the expression, I wish I could be a fly on the wall? Well, I was a fly on the wall. And I know what Eddie went through with all the intonation and the work he did building this first Frankenstein guitar. So if you notice, I've got a couple of paint sticks. One running this way, another one right here, wedging that up. This is the original Floyd Rose that Eddie was using. It's a tremolo that's a piece of shit. It's a bitch to string. It's got these little, if you can see here, these little intonations here that hold the strings in. Then they go up to the headstock. I've made modifications. You can see I have a locking nut on here. I have tuners. They're also locking tuners. And I just see that one of them is broken. That's interesting. That's very, very, very interesting. So anyhow, none of that. Eddie didn't have any of that. Back in, I don't know, when did he built this thing? Early 1970s or earlier. There weren't locking nuts back then. There weren't locking tuners. He had to develop everything on his own. And let me tell you, putting this thing into tune and keeping it into tune is an absolute nightmare. So going back to being a fly on the wall, what Eddie went through to keep this thing in tune long enough to record on it, not even mention to do live shows. He had about 6 of these things, okay? We only see one, but he had about 6 of these guitars that he took on stage with us. He had a full-time guitar tech, and the guy would spend all day long just trying to tune one of them, okay, and keep it in tune. So you may think that's a crock of shit. It's not. This thing is a bitch to keep in tune and to keep it in tune. You have to use the same gauge strings every time. You can't deviate. You have to string it a certain way. You have to tune it a certain way. You have to have the back cavity. See how I've got 3 strings? 3 springs rather. Some of them have 3, some of them have 4. I also have the reflectors like Eddie had. See, I'm reflecting that shit back at you. Okay. Some of them have 3, some of them have 4. The cutout on this thing is so bad that it's literally cracked the wood. That the cutout is almost back to the main part of the guitar. Okay. So Eddie really outdid himself. You think it's easy building a guitar? It's not easy building a guitar. I tried it when I was about 10 years old. I had this old Sears guitar with this weird whammy on it, and I took it apart and I sanded it down and I painted it. And when I put the neck on back, the neck was crooked. I could never get the neck quite straight. It was always out of tune because of that. You know, so I've tuned this thing a little bit. Let's see what it sounds like right now. I'm tuning it down to D sharp tuning, not drop D, but D. So here's the low E string, what would normally be. Let's see what it's at. It's at a D sharp, but it's out of tune. It's a little sharp. G sharp, same thing, a little sharp, sharper than sharp. C sharp is in tune. F sharp is a little sharp. A sharp is a little sharp. D sharp is spot on. So now I'm going to tighten the locking nut, and we're not going to twist the tuner's pegs anymore. So here I go. Before I loosen that up, I'm going to just tighten them finger tight first. I've got this groovy little tool. Okay, so there I'm tightening that one, tightening that one, tightening that one. Okay, so I broke the A string the other day, And that knocked this thing so far out of whack that I haven't been able to play it now for about 3 days. So going back to what Eddie did, you notice that we have very little Van Halen videos of them recording in studio. You know why? Because this is the kind of shit Eddie had to do in studio to keep the guitar in tune long enough to actually lay the tracks down. Didn't matter so much on the live shows. It could be whacked out a little bit because the average person didn't hear it. So let's just try a little, it's not completely in tune. I'm gonna adjust it with the fine tuners. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, if you can make that out, that was the beginning. It shook me all night long. Okay, and it sounded terrible because it's not out of tune. As soon as I locked everything down, knocked it right back out of tune again. So now we're in tune with the fine tuners. We're gonna start what would be the B string. Okay, we're at an A sharp. We're gonna drop on to the A string, which is tuned to a G sharp. We're gonna put that back into G sharp. Now keep in mind, Eddie had a guitar tech, full-time job, even not on days where they were playing. The guy was still working on tuning guitars on full-time job. Okay, that's G sharp. I just put it in a tune, wiggled the guitar a little bit, it's already knocked out of tune. Okay, let's go to D sharp is still D sharp. Let's try the low D. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Keep in mind, I've got the bridge completely locked. I'm not touching the whammy. I'm not dive bombing, and I'm totally preventing any pullback. I don't even know what you call that. It's a dive when you go down. I don't even know what you call it when you go up. I never grew up playing a whammy. I grew up playing just a standard bridge, and I did the Randy Rhoads, which is this. Randy always used to just grab here and do a little bend, which I think is so much easier. Eddie just went nuts on shit. Randy just simplified it, and he didn't have a whammy bar set up. Randy Rhoads didn't, God bless his soul. I think him and Eddie are up in heaven right now talking about guitars, and Eddie's like, oh, Randy, you wouldn't believe the shit I went through trying to keep that guitar in tune. And everybody said I was better than you, and then they said you were better than me, and I hated you, and you hated me, but I'd come to see you, and you'd come to see me, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so back, let's see what happened after I did that little bend. Knocked the low E, or now the D sharp, out of tune. Knocked the G sharp out of tune. Knocked the C sharp out of tune. Knocked the F sharp out of tune. Knocked the A sharp out of tune. The low D sharp is the only thing that stayed in tune. I really want to pull these out of here, right here, but what's going to happen is when I pull these out, the springs are going to try to take over in the back, and the bridge is going to pull back down, and we're going to be right out of tune again. So let's pretend we're in session now. right there, it sounds okay. It'd probably get by in a live show, but I'm not in tune enough to do a recording. And I stopped there because that's when that irritating fuck David Lee Roth would have started singing. And somebody should have just put a bullet in him, you know, in the cradle. I guess he was born a Rothschild or something like that. His dad was a doctor. He was a pompous, arrogant prick, and he still is. And I hope he dies a slow, painless death. Okay, David, you're an insult to the music industry, and your little 5 seconds of fame after Van Halen with Girls, 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 or whatever, Steve Vai, whatever your band was called. I don't even know what your fucking little fly-by-night thing was called. Sammy Hagar was a better performer than you. He's a better man than you, okay? You are credited with what you're credited with. And there's people that don't like Van Hagar, and there's people that think you were the cat's meow of Van Halen. Well, you maybe did help put them on the map. I'll give you that. But Eddie was a better human being than you, and you made him drink the way he drank. And you're to blame for where he's at right now. So this is David's legacy. I can't even play that right now because I'm just hot. Okay, I watched an interview that David was comparing himself to Sammy. And he's like, I sang, ain't talking about love. Okay, you're right, you did. And you were a loveless man whore your whole life, and now you're what, 70-some years old, you're single, you're probably alone, you don't have your looks anymore, you certainly don't have those golden locks that you used to have, and that flat chest and all that shit. So now that you chose to be a man whore your whole life, what did you get for it? Okay, Eddie at least died with love around him. He died with his son Wolfgang by his side. He died with his wife, Valerie Bertinelli, who wasn't his wife anymore, but I'm sure his other wife was there too. But Eddie was loved. What's your legacy? Okay, so this isn't meant to be a war on David Lee Roth. I don't really care. I'm a nobody. I'll always be a nobody, and I don't care. I have my own music that nobody listens to on Reverb Nation and SoundCloud, and I'm not even gonna put a plug. I'm gonna put this plug in here. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. I have 24, 25 followers after 12 years on YouTube. Okay, what does that say about me? Okay, not much, obviously. And I don't care. I don't make music to be commercialized and famous. I make music to say what I want to say to my father. Okay, that's who I write music for. All right, so we're gonna check the tuning again one time, and maybe in another video that I'm gonna make, I'm gonna pull these little paint sticks out of here and we'll get it all whacked out of tune again, and maybe we'll break a string or we'll pop a spring in the back. It's not for this video. I'm just gonna try to get it in tune and play one little ditty for you. Okay, D sharp is in tune. A sharp is in tune. F sharp is in tune. C sharp is in tune now. G sharp. That knocked A sharp out. That probably knocked out E sharp. All right, so anyhow, going back in time, this is what Eddie went through in studio. Nobody knows it. maybe Wolfgang might know it. He's the only person that's going to admit to it if it's true. I hope that Wolfgang sees this message and messages me, because Wolfgang, I love you, man. I used to not like you, like when I first saw you replace Michael Anthony and saw your little Las Vegas thing where David Lee Roth made a complete asshole out of himself and he had the tape on his nose because he whacked himself in the fucking face with the microphone. Good deal. You should have broke his fucking nose off. So anyhow, Wolfgang, I never liked you. I do now. I have a newfound respect for you. I watched you on YouTube. I watched you with that, what's his name? Rick Biazzo, I think his name is. Rick the bitch, Biazzo. I like Rick Biazzo. Other than he's kind of an ass kisser and he's always, he's good. He's good. But he's got some people on there that don't belong on there. Anyhow, this is what they went through. That's why we don't see it. Because who wants to see Eddie Van Halen spend all day long fucking around with his guitar to record one track? All right? Oh, I know, the studio executives who came in and said, I smell money. I smell money. That's what it was all about. Oh yeah! Jump back! What's that sound? Here she comes, full flashing top down. Hot shoe running down the avenue. Model citizen, zero discipline. Don't you know she's coming home with me? Yeah, I'm not Eddie. So anyhow, that's about it. I'm going to make a few more videos tonight, maybe not. The reason I made this video is because I watched this totally AI thing about these lost Van Halen tapes for 36 years that supposedly Wolfgang's got them redigitized and his possession. He can't release them. Because of legal shit with, who knows, the powers that be or Alex or whoever, because supposedly it would destroy the Van Halen legacy. I don't think so. The Van Halen legacy died on the day that Eddie Van Halen died. So we'll never hear another Van Halen song with Eddie and Alex and Sammy and Michael. That's long dead. So might as well release a tape. So you studio executives, go suck a dick. All right, that's what you're good at. You wouldn't know good music if you heard it because you're busy promoting shit like Taylor Swift, who's a $1 billion bitch, and she can't write a fucking song and carry a tune in a bucket. So anyhow, you don't know what music is. You've never known what music is. The music industry supposedly moves in cycle. Well, where's the cycle? When is rock and roll coming back? When is another Eddie Van Halen coming into the scene? Okay, I'm too old and I'm not good enough. Okay, I'm not as old as Eddie was. I'm 57, and my time has passed. I'm not 21, 22 like Eddie was when he recorded Eruption. When I was 22 years old, I was too busy smoking marijuana, snorting coke, getting drunk, and listening to Van Halen. So anyhow, that's my rant, and I hope this goes somewhere farther than my living room. Hit the like, hit the subscribe.